further on along the line, because every judge is fair game and every chief justice is also fair game.
I mean, is that to suggest that you suspect there could be a ripple effect in that?
Oh, definitely.
Any matter...
It's not suspect. I foresee. Not tomorrow, maybe not next year, maybe not in 5 years' time, but along the line, yes, unless those provisions are dealt with effectively in a revised constitution.
Maybe a more direct question. I have seen the letter that was written by the Secretary to the President to the former Chief Justice.
And that's the other thing. A warrant, a person holding a presidential warrant, that's what the position is. You become Chief Justice because you have received a presidential warrant. You can receive all kinds of letters that you are hereby appointed. But if you don't have that warrant, does that make you Chief Justice? Yeah, okay. So if you're removing the person from the position, is it a subordinate who signs the letter? Is that the way it's supposed to be done? That's just by the way. Food for thought.
Yeah, but I've seen a warrant as well signed by His Excellency the President.
So why are they showing us that one? I've been receiving all kinds of messages, and every one of them is only bringing out that letter. And in any case, is it polite? Is it proper that it should be a subordinate who writes a letter of removal to a Chief Justice? Really?
So, it's more of a moral argument than a factual one, not based on any fact. In someone I'll say, oh, Yabusana say, do you have a problem with the procedure? Meaning the due process. She didn't really want to answer. Also, the whole thing has been an unnecessary situation. Later, also, the provisions, she has some problem with it. But as a former Chief Justice, she could not state one thing that she has a problem with. She vaguely threw it out there. Because you, as Madam Sophia Akuffo, I cannot just come and say, I have a question with you being appointed by Akufo-Addo as the Chief Justice. I need to prove beyond that for people to understand that I'm making a valid argument. It could be that I don't like you because of your name. It could be that because you have Akufo in your name, it's making me think that you are a relative to Akufo-Addo. But I cannot just come and say, Madam Sophia, I don't know why they made you the Chief Justice. I need to prove. So if you, as a former Chief Justice, you have an issue with even the procedure or the due process that was put together for Tokonu to go through, you should have at least stated one infraction, something that is against that process that you are calling unnecessary situation, for people like us to understand where you are coming from. Because now you are speaking like anybody on the streets. In fact, if somebody comes and hears you speak on TV and does not know who you are or is not a Ghanaian, they will not even have an idea that you have any legal background. They will think that somebody just went to bring their mother to come and sit on TV to speak. Because you are not making any argument from the statement you are making to prove that you have, with all due respect, the experience and with all due respect, the intelligence to make a case than the ordinary person walking on the street. Because just saying that the whole procedure or process was an unnecessary situation does not justify that the process was supposed to be done. If you want to prove to us that you are better, you have the experience, and that what you are making, the statements you are making, are not basically based on moral and basically based on speculation, you are supposed to go further than the argument Chairman Wontumi will make. Because the argument you are making is like Chairman Wontumi sitting on any radio stations to speak on the Tokonu matter. With all due respect to you, madam, Without due respect, or see, there's always been a problem with Article 146. Or see, that article now, John Mahama, any president to be able to say Kufuor ejina so and making sure the due process has been dealt has happened, Or see, she has always had a problem with the Article 146. We never knew she had a problem. She was Chief Justice for over 8 years or 8 years. She was just Chief Justice, I don't know the number of years, but it wasn't 8 years. She never spoke on Article 146, even when she was Chief Justice. When she was Chief Justice, she also received the same petition, but she never had an issue with Article 146 until today. Her party, her brother Akuffo, and her friend Tokonu also had to go through the same process. So suddenly, she has always had a problem with the same Article 146 that she applied when she was Chief Justice. Into one baby Ofriba, she is picking and choosing. This is a woman I respect a lot. Dear, why you are caught in Minyebi? But at least she needs to prove beyond the say you are a former Chief Justice, you are a luminary, you are an intelligent person when it comes to the law. You cannot speak vaguely because people like us are waiting for people like you with experience in the law to make a point that we can say yes, she based her argument on this fact. But you are basically speaking like a normal housewife who is relaxed at home and just telling us about what happened in the market. You are not basically distinguishing yourself from normal people on the street and a former Chief Justice and a judge of the Supreme Court. Now, you being a Chief Justice for 3 years, we handing over the judiciary to you for 3 years, it wasn't an easy thing. Now, how can you just sit on TV and make due process, constitution, yejina so take a decision, how can you just sit on TV to make it look like, say, the illegal? Now, she went on to say this. She is saying, we should revise the constitution. The constitution reform team or revised committee, it is there. You have all the right to go to that committee and present, because you being a former Chief Justice, I think they will listen to you than me. So if you have a problem with 146, if you have a problem with some things in the constitution, you cannot sit at home and put on makeup and make it look like it's not something that concerns you. You have every right to put those concerns together to give to the Constitutional Review Committee for them to look at it, because you are a former Chief Justice. You don't put on scarf, shine your face, wear glasses, and polish your grammar like we can't speak English. You can equally write your own piece and take it to where? Take it to the Constitutional Review Committee. You cannot just sit there and speak like a laywoman, without due respect to you. You cannot bring down the level you have been so low that when you speak, we don't see any signs of somebody who has legal intelligence, without due respect to you, madam. So, sometimes when we listen to you, after listening to you today, I was shocked because your argument was all pushing you into the bracket of the pin brain people. Because the pin brain people, when they make arguments, they don't have any facts to base the arguments on. And that is what you have done today. You are forcing yourself to fall into the bracket of the pin brain people. You have always been telling us that they are not smart enough to make a case, to be coherent, and to make intelligent submissions on national issues. You see, so a judge just sent me this. Former Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo's comment on the removal of former CJ Gertrude Tokonu is highly casuistic. The judges even have a problem with your submission on this matter, especially when you are a member of the Council of State that basically also received the petition and gave it a green light. So you are becoming a sycophant, with all due respect, madam. Now, let us know who Sophia Akuffo is. Is she a sycophant? Is she somebody we can basically sit back and say, You are a hypocrite. You are not being realistic and honest with Ghanaians. You are playing with the emotional part of the issue instead of you being factual and basing your arguments on evidence and facts. What she is trying to do and what we saw is that she's not being factual.